Everybody, this is James Durbin of Durbin, and you are watching CMS TV.
myhappydesires.com. Visit us at myhappydesires.com and add some toys to your toy box. Let your imagination be the guide to your stress relief. myhappydesires.com has everything for the perfect play night. Alone or not, you choose. Fuel your desires without breaking the bank. myhappydesires.com.
It is your classic metal show right here on the classicmetalshow.com. That is some Jack Russell's great right there from He Saw It Coming with the Sign of the Times. And Chris, we got a guest in the studio.
Look at that. We've got a celebrity. Check it in.
We want to welcome Robby Lochner to the Classic Metal Show for the first time. Welcome to the show, Robby.
Thank you.
Glad to have you on.
Glad to be here.
Excellent. Well, Robby, you sent me your side project, D.I.L.F USA. What does that stand for?
Dutifully Involved Loving Fathers.
Sure it does.
Damn, I love loud fuckers. Oops. Can I say that?
You can swear.
Yeah, we're an uncensored show here, Robby.
Okay.
Well, dude, tell us a bit about this thing, man, because I don't know if you caught the episode where we kind of tore it down last week and looked at it, but the main question I have is, when did you have time to do it? I mean, you guys are always busy with Great White. You guys are always out on the road. When did you have time to do, the shoot and the creative and putting it together and all that stuff?
It was all in between. And it came up pretty quick. I have a friend of mine that works for Combat Radio, Universal, NBC, and he had a special that was going on. He said, it's a Christmas special. Like, oh, we got a Christmas song we've been wanting to record. He goes, I want to hear it. And I go, well, we haven't recorded it yet. He goes, it needs to be done already. I'm like, oh. So what had happened was in between, when we got home, I was like, pieced it together. Sent it over. We need the drums real fast. I sent it over to Ken Mary, who's now our drummer. He's got a studio out in Phoenix, and he knocked out the drums in a day, sent them back to me. And then I started tracking, did some acoustic guitars, and then had Jesse come in and sing. And all this was like piecemealing it as quick as I could. And then we're back on the road. And then, it happened really pretty fast. So
very cool. Now I want to ask you. I know you mentioned Jesse, Jesse Blaze Snyder, I believe, right?
Yes.
And I'm reaching, and tell me if I am reaching. I'll put it this way: I read the credits, and I saw Snyder in a lot of the credits. So is this like a Snyder production that you're a part of, or is it a Lochner production that you're friends with all these guys, or how does that all work?
Well, it's a D.I.L.F production, so it's something that we do together. It's a band, and so we do all the production. All the music is done right here where I'm at right now. We actually filmed this, and our first video called "Shit the Bed" was filmed in my house. It was filmed here in the house, and it's amazing to me how fast this came together. It was pretty quick. But Jesse came in and blew out those vocals real fast. And, just the whole thing happened. And I was on an airplane listening to it with the clean guitars like I had. And I go, no, I want piano here. I want violin here. All the stuff while we're traveling. As soon as I got home, did the piano, did the violin, added more guitars, started adding all these things, started mixing it. And meanwhile, we're putting together the idea for the shoot, which was actually Jesse's girlfriend, Julie. She's had a concept, and they started working it, and we started tossing it around, and then we set the nearest, quickest date we could, and we got in and just made it happen in a day, shot it in a day. And it was that week, it was already mixed and ready to go. The edited, I should say, edited and ready to go.
Wow. So, Chris and I were trying to speculate how this all came together. I mean, we were thinking, who has time to think about doing this stuff ahead of time before Christmas? And we're thinking they had to have been doing something all the way back in the summertime. But the way that you're telling it, it kind of happened just in the last few weeks alone. Yeah.
It was really quick. Yeah. We had it done in time for the Combat Radio special, which was November, is the week before Thanksgiving. So it was completed by that. And I think we started it in September sometime. I mean, it was really fast. I was pretty shocked that it came together that quick and so well. I mean, the guy who shot it did a great job, and he handed it over to another guy who just did a brilliant job editing it. And there's a lot of footage that's on the cutting room floor, a lot of really good stuff, but he just picked the right scenes for the right spot. And I was like, how he did that in 2 days time, I don't know.
Well, we were sitting there trying to speculate that now did they have to storyboard this whole thing and come up with these ideas? And obviously, what was the idea behind the whole zombie look?
It was because Jesse was like, he was afraid that people were going to hear us come in and singing all pretty in the beginning, and they're not going to stick around to know that it rocks. So his thought was, how about if we do something that shows you that it's going to go somewhere other than this pretty sound? And then it was actually his sister that came up with the idea. She goes, no, you got to do corpse paint. And I'm like, and he's telling me, so we're going to do corpse paint. I'm going, okay, whatever. I'm just here doing it. What's corpse paint? I don't know. But they had a girl that came in and did it, and they just lined it up. And they went out, and Julie went out for the week prior to us filming with us together here at my house. And she was going to people's houses and filming all these different scenes, these shots. So they put on the D.I.L.F page, they said, anybody want to be in a video? And all these people basically raised their hands. And then all these people that you see in here, they went out and she filmed these in all different locations. Though us right here, we're all at my house.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, so when you're doing a video like this, and more a song than the video, but I've speculated that the Christmas market for these kind of songs is not, I don't want to say very lucrative, but it's like kind of like if you get into that crowd with a song, you're good for 20 albums over 20 years, because there's always a new one. And, like we were talking about it last week, like Enough's Enough has that song Happy Holidays. That song has been on 20 Christmas records, just because they have that song. It meets the need. It's not overplayed, it's not Jingle Bells.
Yeah.
And so do you consider that when you do something like this, or is it strictly for fun and maybe it turns into something?
Well, I definitely was considering it. I thought this song was just beautiful. I thought when it was done, I was going, wow, his vocals just sell it, So I was thinking this could definitely land in those lists. And I'm figuring, and with a great video too, to kind of sell it, I thought, hey, it could do exactly what you're saying. And hopefully it will. We've got this season, we're still, pushing it, and it's new, but then of course next year again. And like you said, for years to come, a lot of people are going, we're adding it to our Christmas list already, our music list of Christmas songs. So we'll have more push on it for next year for sure, because next year we can start earlier in the summer and get into some of these places that you really need to have it turned in the summer. And right, I didn't really put that I should have known better, but I just kind of thought, well, I was going to tell him when I was telling my friend this, like, oh, we're going to get it ready probably for Christmas time. And then he was telling me, it needs to be done. I thought, yeah, of course it does. I should know this. And that's when we just really made it come together fast. And now, of course, moving into the future, yeah, that's what we're looking to hope, that it ends up on people's Christmas list.
Well, this kind of reminds me of like a modern version, not that the content's the same, but the quirkiness of it is grandma got run over by a reindeer type thing, just kind of the funny, lighthearted way of approaching the whole Christmas season and just making fun and, just silliness for it. And you were mentioning, your guys who did the filming and the editing and whatnot. That's one of the first things that stood out for me watching this for the first and second time was just the fantastic camera work. Yeah. The lighting was perfect. The camera work is really well done, and the editing is perfect. I mean, it is a high class production.
I have to say, I agree. I was super impressed. And I knew after we filmed it, we had a lot of fun. It was all in one day. We did all I call the nerd scenes first. We did all that. And then after that, we took the break, had some dinner. We're taking turns getting painted up. And then it just turned into a riot after that. We're just laughing all the time, looking at each other. Look at you. Ah! It was just funny. Right. And it was so much fun. And I figured the guy who was filming was so good at getting the scenes. I figured he captured a lot of great stuff. And there was a lot of things, like every one of these scenes we did, like this right here with the Santa being thrown up. We must have done that 5-6 times. And then I probably ruined at least 2 or 3 of them because I was standing right behind this on the porch laughing. And I was like, oh, sorry. I didn't mean, I was laughing at him. But right. He just put it together so well. He just had such a great eye for it. I was super impressed.
Sure. Well, Robby, tell us a little bit about, aside from this, from the video and the song, what is D.I.L.F to you? I mean, you obviously have a full-time band, that you, unless I'm mistaken, you're not only playing in, but you're managing, or at least somewhat managing as well. Yeah. So I'm assuming that keeps you pretty busy, because Jack Russell's Great White is always playing. So where does this band stand for you? Is it a legit band? Is it a side project? How does it feel to you?
It's kind of both. It is feeling more and more legit. I mean, this is our second video. I don't know if you saw our first one called Shit the Bed. Mm-hmm. It's a funny one. We're kind of going in that direction. We're trying to make it quirky and a little different, funny, but just fun, a lot of fun.
Sure.
And we're starting to pick up. We're going to do some gigs and stuff. And mostly right now we're doing covers and we're just adding originals.
Okay.
And it's just whenever we're off, we're going to play or we're recording. We've got 6 more that we're going to be recording drums for on Monday. And that way we have them kind of banked and we'll start putting them out when it makes sense to put them out.
Right on. How do you avoid fans writing it off as a Steel Panther thing?
I think that it's entirely different, because Steel Panther is that whole 80s comedy, a lot of fun,
sure.
Great players, the whole 9 yards, where ours is more quirky in a different sort of way. It's just kind of, and stylistically, it's not really that 80s thing. I think we're kind of leaning a little more punk and a little more in that punk, but with some guitar playing, is kind of where we're going with it. So I haven't heard that comparison yet, but I'll take it if people want to say.
Yeah. I mean, there's worse bands you could be compared to, right? Than a successful band that's out touring, big rooms every single night. So
yeah, that's right.
Well, Robby, obviously, when you're a musician, a working musician, you got to put food on the table and whatnot. When it comes to these type of projects and so on and so forth, how do you, not that this is the main goal for you, but I'm sure it is a thought, how do you market this to where it could be a profitable venture for you?
That's the question right there. Right now, we're just figuring we're going to put out songs. We're going to put out hopefully quality videos with every song and just start spreading the word everywhere we can. And let's just see if it can catch on. In today's world, it seems like everything is all about algorithms, right? You get in there, and if you get something out on YouTube and it catches the algorithms, all of a sudden you just blow up.
So you're looking for the internet plays, then, like the YouTube plays and stuff.
Yes.
Possibly, generate some revenue for you.
That's it. Really, to kind of generate, not necessarily a whole lot off of that, and hopefully that would be great, but to get enough eyes on us that people are interested in seeing the band, so we can go out and play more and bigger shows.
Do you worry that the internet's going to give you shit because of the D.I.L.F name? Meaning the algorithms might say, well, that's dirty. Let's not do that. That's dirty.
Yeah, I haven't given it too much thought. And when people ask me, I just tell them, hey, damn involved loving friends or whatever. I give them a different, anything you want to put to it is fair game.
Yeah, it's kind of like Wasp.
Yeah.
It could be anything you want it to be.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well,
Yeah.
well, Robby, obviously, man, you guys, you are in Jack Russell's Great White,
Yeah.
and a little birdie tells me as of this week that there's a good chance that we're going to have a full length album in the spring. Maybe is that maybe true?
I don't think it'll happen that fast. I just don't see it
Okay.
because Rock's got a commitment to getting the was it not? Frontiers record with Tracy Gunn. He's got to get that done. So that's really on his docket right now to finish.
Okay.
And then he's got another record with Cleopatra that we're doing that they want him to redo some Dante Fox songs.
Okay.
So we're going to crack all those here, 5 of those and then 5 covers. And I'm like, Jack, we got to do an original record. But meanwhile, we have a song that we've been sitting on for probably 4 years. Really beautiful kind of blues song in the vein of House of Broken Love, but more Zeppelin-ish.
Okay.
And that one, I just got the drum tracks from Ken the other day, and I'm going to start tracking on it this week. And the hope is to get out a new single, at least to kind of put something out going, hey, we've got stuff. We just got to get it all together and get it out. I would say spring. It won't happen just because it's difficult with our schedule and the way things work with Jack is a little bit different. With D.I.L.F, it can happen fast because it's just Jesse comes over here and he sings and it's done. Boom, he's out.
Right.
Jack, I've got to be able to work it out for him to be able to get here. He lives in Denver now. So
yeah, I got to ask you about that, dude. And I don't know how to put this nicely, so I'm not going to.
Okay.
But we know Jack's health is not the best. Everybody knows that. It's not a secret.
Yeah.
Why the hell is he living in Denver, the hardest place in the entire world to breathe?
That is a good question. But the answer would be because his wife is from there and her kid is there. And he felt like he owed it to her to be near her child while he's still underage. So they moved there to be closer. And, I get it. But it's definitely tough on his health. And he's definitely, like you said, it's no secret. I guess I shouldn't try and hide it. And that's part of the reason it's tough to get some stuff done sometimes, because if he's not feeling up to it, it's hard for him to get in and knock it out. And then when he's feeling good, he could come in and knock 2 or 3 songs out.
Right.
So it just depends.
Well, and it's amazing to see. Like I saw you guys right before the pandemic was the last time I saw you guys play, and you played here in Cleveland on the Sirius tour, Sirius XM.
Okay, yeah,
whatever that tour was, when you had the broken foot and you were kind of standing still.
Oh man, that was horrible. Yeah,
but I just remember like he came out and he's rocking. I mean, he's rocking, he's spinning, he's singing, he's bringing it. And then I went backstage after it. He was like on a couch, and I was like, wow, how could this be? Like 20 minutes later, it's like a total difference. And he still sounds great though. I mean, he does the job, which is is really amazing.
It is. There's something about getting on stage where all that pain or whatever goes away for the hour and a half, and he just kind of kicks it out. It's interesting to see when you see him come out and he's doing, like you said, just like that, and he's throwing it down. Then he comes backstage and he's like, oh, okay, find me a bed. And then you know what? I've seen it with other guys. I have a friend of mine that was playing with George Thorogood, and he invited me to a show out here.
Okay.
And we went and watched him, and George Thorogood was throwing down. It was like, oh, great show. And then backstage, he kind of had a cane, and he was kind of not getting around as well as he was on stage. I went, man, that reminds me of Jack.
A couple of summers ago, when Dokken and Jack played together over in Des Moines, Iowa, in the little arena over there, man, Jack was out in the hallway there between the dressing room and the stage area, and that hallway just had a big echo to it, and so he was just out there barking out lyrics going down the hallway there, and it was just echoing off the wall. And it's just like, this guy's voice is just amazing after all these years. It's just funny to see him just let out just belt out a couple lyrics or something just randomly. That
it took me a while it took me a number of years to get used to that. We'll be going onto an airplane and all of a sudden let's do the line to babe, I'm gonna leave you. I'm like, oh, what? Oh my god, we're on an airplane. Shh. it's almost like Tourette's, but it's not. He just doesn't even think about it. He just starts singing, in the middle of wherever, or in a mall, and he's singing. I'm like, whoa, whoa. Then after a while, I just kind of used to it. If he does it, I'm just like, oh, it's Jack.
Yeah, that's Jack.
Nice.
well, Robby, let me ask you something, since Chris brought it up here a few minutes ago about the potential of a new album. Does it make sense to make a record these days?
To me, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It seems to me it should be singles. And I kind of want to talk with Jack about it. And I told him that, and it's his call because it's his band.
Sure.
Yeah, I do all the tour managing. I do the managing, even though everything is his decision. I'll bring it to him. This is what I think. What do you think? Your answer is the answer. That's just the way it is. And I just recently was telling him, really, we got this great blues song. We got to put it out. And he agreed. We're going to go ahead and do it. And I'm going, really? But today's market, all we should be doing is a single and a video. Another single, another video, like D.I.L.F is going to do. And then when we get to 10, 11 songs, okay, maybe if you want to put it on a collection and sell it at shows, that's great. But I don't see the point of doing records anymore. It's just not really a thing.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the whatever frontiers would give a band, which is not a lot, I mean, it's not, it ain't the old days. It's not here's $2 million. Go back to the studio. When you're looking at, I don't know, 15 grand or 10 grand or what it is, whatever the number is. And, I get it. It's definitely not worth it for you guys, for you though, when you look at that, do you understand the other side of it for a guy like Jack, that he's so old school that it just doesn't compute to him to release a song?
I totally do. But I tell you this, he has come a long ways in a lot of areas from the old school ways. It's taken a while, but he's just the fact that I'm tour managing and managing stuff is a huge step for him. He always felt like he had to have a guy doing it that's completely separate. And then once I started doing it, and he realized, hey, no, this is actually working out well. Everybody could make more money. There's less flights, there's less hotel rooms, there's less in travel. It makes more sense. And when I'm doing stuff like on the road, I do it for the band, where sometimes you get a tour manager who does what he thinks he should do for himself or whatever. Sometimes I question, like, why are we traveling at this time, and why are we doing this, or why, a lot of times I'll be going, oh, I'm not really sure why,
Right.
And then I do everything is like, okay, I understand that the guys want to sleep. I want to sleep. How do we get maximum sleep? How do we make this work out for the band in its best possible way? And so he's really come around on a lot of that stuff. And I think with the singles, it'll be the same thing. But like you nailed it, though. The money, the upfront money is enticing to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, we can do singles. We could even do a whole record and not sell it. Instead of selling it up front, have it done and sit on it, because we do it here. I'm not going to charge him to do it. I'll do it. And then, you can pay me later, however you want to do it. I'm not worried about that. I just want the record done. And then he could walk in with a full record done, cover, everything done, and go, here it is. What are you going to pay for it? Instead of going, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars and I'll get it done in such and such date,
Right. Sure. Well, Robby, I wanted to ask you too, just because we haven't had you on the show, since you joined, which is, God, what, a decade now?
It was just past 11 years. On December 7th, it was 11 years.
Okay. How much of a Kendall fan were you coming into? Were you a big Mark Kendall fan? Did that match your playing style, or did you grow into it to fit the band, or what?
Well, I don't want to be rude about this at all, without trying to be rude. No, I wasn't. I was a Jack Russell fan.
Okay.
And I didn't know who any of the other guys in the band were. I knew who the music was, but I knew who Jack Russell was. It was always Jack, that guy's voice, this guy's great. And I'd hear the guitar playing, and he kind of reminded me, now learning the stuff, it doesn't make me think of that, but sometimes like Ace Frehley. And I love Ace Frehley.
Sure.
But it kind of reminded me of that, like Rock Me, those Chuck Berry licks and stuff. So it wasn't really like trying to learn George Lynch licks,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot simpler than that. But it's cool. I mean, there's respect. I mean, he was the guy who did it, so I still have respect for what he's done. But I didn't really follow that. And also in that time frame when they were out, I had my own band, and I was really focused on what I was doing. And I kind of wasn't really following any guitar players for a long period of time. I grew up on Ritchie Blackmore and Ted Nugent and Van Halen and Randy Rhoads and Michael Schenker and Julie John Roth, guys like that. And then when my band started picking up steam and really looked like something was going to happen, I was just focused on this and making our sound and making the band. And then after that band broke up after a number of years, it was like, oh, wow. I moved to California. I grew up in Tucson, is where the band was at. And I heard songs. Of course, I heard of a lot of bands. I'd be hearing what's on the radio or what was on MTV. Sure. But I wasn't super focused in on who was what or anything. I was just more like, oh, I like that song or I like that song or whatever it was, but not really paying attention like I did when it was Michael Schenker. I was like, oh, wow, what did Schenker do now,
Right. So for you obviously you joined the band, and like I said before, I've seen the band a few times, and you do the old school stuff pretty accurately. I mean, you have your own flavor to it, but it's pretty accurate to what people remember. But when you did the album, when you did the Jack Russell's Great White album, it didn't sound like Great White anymore. It was like you stepped out of that, what you're doing on stage. When did you feel comfortable to be Robby Lochner in the band instead of playing the parts for the old band, I guess?
Well, for as far as doing the record, my thought when I was talking to Jack about it is going, we could go and I can do that. If you really want me to, I can play like he's playing. We could write songs. We could write another Rock Me. But I go, but realistically, if I was a fan of the band, I don't really want to hear another Rock Me. If I want to hear Rock Me, I'll go listen to Rock Me. I don't want to hear another One Spittin'. I'll go listen to One Spittin'. Why don't we do something that's a little bit outside of the element and let's see what happens. Let's just try and get outside of that box. We can go back in there like this new track we're going to do is going to be definitely a lot more closer in that vein, but it's going to lean a little bit more Zeppelin. Okay. But it's more in that vein. And I see doing that and I understand doing that, but to a point. I mean, the idea was like the song He Saw It Coming was really, I was thinking Queen when I came up with the idea for that. And I was like, Jack, check this out, and he wasn't sure at first, and I played it over to him over the phone. He's like, I don't know. And I was going, that's cool. If you don't want to do it, I'll do it on, on my own, something else or whatever. Sure. And I swear, I brought him in here. I put it on. I just played it, and then I put piano because it wasn't piano when I played it to him originally. And I did that opening and whatever. And he stood up and started singing to it. And I was like, dude, that there. Yeah, let me record that. And then I had a mic in front of him, and I recorded what he did. And I went, that wasn't what you just sang. Can you do it again? And he did it again, and he came closer. And so what happened was what he sang became the verses, and then we took all the other stuff I did and arranged it in a different way. But it was like, okay, we're trying to I guess go outside the lines of what he's done in the past just to see if we can attract more people in a different way. I mean, some people probably are like, I don't like it, but then I know we turned on other people too. So there's the toss up.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with the legacy bands, they still have to maintain some familiarity for the old fans, but still build on that for, like you mentioned, bring in new people perhaps that might discover it because of a little direction change for you. And then that's the whole thing. It's just like when the old school fans listen to Jack Russell's Great White record, they're going, well, this doesn't sound like Rock Me or whatever. And they're so pigeonholed into what they want to hear that they won't give it a chance. So it's sort of a balancing act, say, well, here's something for the old school fans and here's something for the new fans. It kind of have like a mix of the both,
I think that's where we're going to be going with the next stuff, is to kind of hone it in a little bit, but we still want to go outside the box, because I do get that. But it's interesting because I do see, like, I played the track He Saw It Coming for somebody who was like, yeah, I've never been a Great White fan. I go, oh, that's cool, whatever. I go, why don't you check out our new track? And I played it, and they're like, wow, I love this. I was going, oh, that's great to hear that. And then I played another track. Wow, this is cool too. I'm like, maybe they're saying that because I'm in front of them, but they seem to be really, and you always get that a little bit, but they seem to be like really going, no, then I really like this. So there is it's kind of hard to balance that, right? And it's kind of almost like, old Van Halen and new Van Halen. For me, old Van Halen, I love it. New Van Halen, I love it. So, and it's very different, right? It's trying to find that. Maybe we can find a sound that people will love, but maybe not too far of a departure. And it was pretty eclectic. That whole record, you go track to track, and it's very different all the way down the line. And honestly, that's how I've always written my whole life. Any records that I've done, you'll listen and you go, every song is really different. What's up with you? Like,
Sure.
Sorry, I just don't like doing the same song over and over.
Right on. Well, dude, how much of a, and I'll just say pain in the ass for lack of a better term, how much of a pain in the ass is it that people don't know which version of Great White is in front of them? You know, like, to me, it seems obvious, but I'm a music dork. You know, I'm the guy that will know everybody on stage. I think the average casino person goes to the show and they don't know that you're not Mark Kendall. You know,
that's right. It's weird. I'm like, what? You know, it's a little bit weird to me, but I'm like, okay, those are more casual fans. And so that's part of the new songwriting direction too, that I'm going, the casual fans we can kind of appeal to in that way, because they're casual fans. They know the songs they heard on the radio. They don't know any of the deep cuts. They don't know any of that stuff. So it's kind of like it's weird. And it is strange because you get people, oh yeah, we go on airplanes, you know, it's like Jack Russell's Great White. Oh, great White. Yeah. And I've had, you know, the flight attendants put on, and they're playing Once Bitten, Twice Shy. And I'm sitting there back there going, oh yeah, I'm not on that, you know, but you know, what do you do?
Sure. And one of the things that's a testament to Jack and the unique aspect of his delivery and his voice is that the other version of Great White, obviously they can't keep a lead singer very long. And they've gone through at least 4 singers, you know, since Jack has gone out on his own as Jack Russell's Great White. And I never see or hear any quote unquote news or coverage of them playing anywhere. Every time I see music news, it's always Jack's version, you know, as far as, well, they played this show or they were here, or here's some YouTube live of them playing at such and such a fest and so on and so forth. But then I never hear nothing about the Mark Kendall version, aside from, well, they got another new singer now, you know, and it doesn't make an impact. You know, everybody not that the singers that they've had are not competent singers, but they just don't bring that flavor to the table that you know, that the real Great White fans want to hear.
I think that's exactly it. And really what it is I think Jack is just like me. When I first met Jack, I knew who Jack was. Oh, Jack Russell. I didn't know I know who all the guys are now, of course. I didn't really follow him enough to know. I just knew Jack. I knew Jack was on Herman Rebel's first solo record. And it was like Jack Russell, you know, he was this guy, right? So I think what it is there's a lot of people that follow Jack. It's like Jack Russell. So he's got that thing, whereas the other guys maybe don't. Well, clearly they don't. And that's pretty common. I mean, if you look at like Stephen Pearcy, he goes out and plays and everybody knows who Stephen Pearcy is.
Right.
I mean, I know who all the guys in Rat are. I mean, I followed Rat from way back. That's one of the bands that they came out early, you know, just like Dokken came out early. You know who all the guys were. But it's one of those things that the lead singer can typically go and do that sort of thing. And usually the guitar player or a drummer or a bass player can't. It's pretty rare that a guitar player can go out, or not. It's a bass player and a drummer. Guitar players do it. George Lynch goes out and he plays. You get guitar players who can go out and do their thing, but it's the singer. Stephen Pearcy can go out and he'll draw a crowd, and he's still doing it. He's still throwing it down. Sebastian Bach, Tom Kiefer. Yeah, Tom Kiefer. Same thing. You see a lot of these guys that are able to do that because they're the front man. They were the guy that, you know, everybody kind of knows. It's the front man is typically the guy that's in your face, unless you've got one of these guitar players that's like, you know, Van Halen or George Lynch or whatever, guys that really stood out as a guitar hero.
Yeah. Well, we, obviously I know the Dokken guys really well since I travel with Don, you know, pretty much every time you see me. So,
yeah, that's right.
So, I think it's interesting that since George has been playing with Don, you know, just as this quote unquote reunion thing for the last 3 years, and George going from changing Lynch Mob to his Electric Freedom Band, now back to Lynch Mob again because of name recognition, which is everything. Any thoughts on that?
Which part of it?
On George going from, saying, well, I can't use Lynch Mob anymore because, well, that's offensive or it's racist.
Is that why he did that? It's his last name.
Well, that's what he said. And he goes, well, I've never been comfortable using Lynch Mob, only for 30 years,
Right.
Then he changed it to be more politically correct. And everybody was just like, what the fuck is Freedom Band? What is that?
Yeah, and no one will know, so it hurts him. He's got to be name recognition. If he really has a problem with it, I think he should just go out as George Lynch. Why not?
Well, now he's Lynch Mob again. They relaunched Lynch Mob.
Yeah, I mean, he should just go out as George Lynch if he has a problem with it. It's pretty simple to me. Everybody knows George Lynch. They know Lynch Mob, of course, they associate it with him. Why not just go George Lynch? But that's his call. But I could see him doing that. Maybe he's not comfortable with going with his name either. I mean, I don't know, but it makes sense.
Now he's back to Lynch Mob.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because people know who it is. It's probably an easier sell for the agent.
Sure, absolutely. And that's what it is. It's all about name recognition, which is, obviously the battle that Jack had to face with his former bandmates. That's
right.
They both wanted that great white name because it's an established name. So,
that's right.
So, fortunately, Jack being, one of the founding members and being able to at least maintain the great white in his band title, so and the thing is even though it's Jack Russell's Great White, still people go, it's Great White.
Yeah, a lot of people do that, but I mean, realistically, what should have happened? That's funny. What should have happened, in my opinion, not that it matters, but it should have been Mark Kendall's Great White and Jack Russell's Great White. Is really how it should have gone down. But when it came down to it, I think Jack got a little bit nervous that he could possibly lose that entirely. And he thought, he needed to have that marquee name with his name to help. And it's fine because now after all these years, really Jack Russell's Great White has become a thing, right? It's,
Sure.
People know it. And there's still a lot of people who do not know Jack's not in the band. I mean, those guys played a week ago and somebody I know was there and they sent me a picture and there's promotion all over the place and it's a picture of Jack. I'm going, what? How can they put a picture of Jack at a show? I mean, if we did that and had a picture of those guys up at our show, they'd be chopping our heads off.
Do you really think that's the band though, or is that the promoter?
No, that's the promoter. Yeah, the band's not. I'm sure the band, if they saw that, they're probably mortified, just like we would be, But still, you'd probably see it and go, "Hey, no, you can't do that."
Yeah, so. Dude, I've said this a million times on this show and every other show that I do. These promoters, man, they are shady. They're just shady. Most of them, almost all of them. It's crazy how shady they are.
I think it depends on some of them. I mean, there's a lot of pretty cool promoters that I've met over the years that I've become friends with because we see them a lot and they bring us back and they're friendly. And I'm like, I like a lot of the guys, but I know where you're coming from. I know. We've run into a few. We've got some more stories on that are just like, oh God, bad.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially at this point. At this point, man, one of the things on one of my other shows that I'm talking to some people about, and I'll ask you as well, because I know this part of it. Right now, I think is the absolute toughest time to tour for financial reasons, because there's less places to play. Now everybody, the ticket prices are out of control to kind of adjust, I guess, to it. So what are you guys running into as far as the costs? Is it still cost effective to get out there, or is it really tough?
It has been. We've been doing all right. This past year was a really good year. Next year, let's see what happens, because you're right. I mean, the airline tickets are super high. It's like, there's so much in expenses that are like, it's just, everything has gotten so expensive that we have to charge more. We can't go out for a certain number below a certain number anymore. We just can't do it. It's not cost effective. And if you're going to a secondary market, it's way more expensive to get into some of these places.
Yeah.
So it's definitely tricky. It was trickier towards the end of the year. The first half of last year wasn't bad, but once those gas prices shot up and the airline tickets doubled, I mean, things started really getting rough.
Right. For a band like yours, which I'm gonna guess this is a no, but it could be wrong. I'm thinking that the smaller the band is, the more Mondays and Tuesdays are offered, and the less weekend gigs are offered. Is that how it's playing out to be? Now, I'm thinking you guys probably still get the weekends because obviously Great White's a big band, but I'm just thinking because there's less venues, you got to play the Mondays or Tuesdays at the casino when they don't have a band, no?
You know, we just do weekends.
Okay.
It's rare that we don't do weekends, and I think that most of the bands are still doing weekends, but a lot of the smaller bands will do pickup dates throughout the week to make it cost effective, because there's bands that are, you know, I know what some of these bands are making, actually quite a few of them, because I just kind of know.
Sure.
And I realize how difficult it really has got to be for them to make it work, and they've got to make it work through selling merch and all these different avenues, whatever they can do to make it work. But part of that is they got to play back to back to back to back to back. You know, they got to play throughout the week, and they're playing smaller clubs and playing wherever they can to pick stuff up and then get. I think that most of the bands are getting weekends still, but they have to do the weekdays to pick it up.
Well, how many weekend gigs do you think that your Great White Jack Russell could handle in a year? What do you think a fair number of shows, like a Friday and a Saturday weekend show? How many of those do you think he can do in a year?
Every weekend.
Really?
We can do every weekend. Oh yeah, sure.
Oh yeah.
We don't get every weekend, and you know what? Part of that is you got to figure there's two sharks out in the ocean there.
Yeah,
I mean, those guys are playing. We're playing. That's a testament to the band, right? That they're able to play as much as they are, and we're able to play as much as we are, is a pretty good testament. We probably play, I would say, at least 30 weekends through the year. At least, probably, we play quite a bit. Until it's usually this time of year that it gets slow. Right now, it's definitely slow. We're playing next weekend, and then we're playing weekdays here in LA. We're playing a Wednesday at the Whiskey and a Thursday at the Coach House, 28th and 29th. And so it's a little bit slower. Usually when you hit September's usually been pretty good, but October, November, December, it typically slows down quite a bit. We'll get dates, but not many.
Right
sure.
on, man.
Absolutely. Well, what are you looking forward to in the new year?
New music for sure. I'm looking forward to getting new music out. I think that's always important. And then some of the shows we've got coming down look like they'll be good. We don't have a whole lot on the schedule yet, but the ones we do have look like they're going to be pretty good.
Good, excellent. Well, I always enjoy, when Jack's, Jack Russell's Great White, obviously plays along with Doc, and that's always a good compliment. Bill, and when Jack comes out on stage and joins Don to sing Alone Again, that's always a highlight. It's always a lot of fun to watch that. And he just comes right on out there and just takes over the mic and just belts out a few lines in that song, and they complement each other pretty well, and they obviously had a very good camaraderie after so many decades. So
they go way back, and it's always interesting because before they go on, or before Don goes on, they're typically chatting it up, and I'm usually there while they're chatting it up, and Don is just so laid back. It's a trip. It's like, oh, Don, you're probably supposed to be on stage now, and he's just kind of I'll get there. I'm like, whoa.
Well, that's what I'm there for always. Come on, Don, come on, we got to go. And the intro is playing. It's like, come on, let's go.
There was one show we were playing, and there was at least 4 bands on the bill or whatever, and we're back, and there's between these trailers, and we're all chatting it up, and then I think the intro might have been going or whatever, and the girl that was like this young girl, she's the promoter or whatever, and she's over there getting nervous, like, okay, you got to get on stage, and she's getting nervous. I'm like, oh man, I wish I could help you, but not much I can do. And I was kind of like, trying to coax it along, but he'll go when he does. But it's a trip for me, because before we go on stage, I'm usually like, I don't know if nervous is the word, but a lot of like a bundle of energy.
You're amped up. You're amped up.
I'm amped up. I'm like, I'm ready to go. I'm standing back there. I'm ready to go. I got to be ready. If I wasn't standing on the stage, I'd be a nervous wreck. So if I'm on the stage at least 10, 15 minutes before that, I'm amped up. I'm like wanting to get out there. And he's been doing it so long, he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever, just chill. I'm like, wow, it looked like he's just ready to go home. And then he goes up and he rocks it, So.
It's awesome.
Sure. All right, Robby. Well, we appreciate you taking a few minutes and talk to us here on the show. We're glad to have you on here for the first time. And, we've crossed paths many times over the years. So I'm glad you reached out and shared the new D.I.L.F video with us, the countdown to Christmas. And how's that doing for you, numbers wise?
Numbers wise on YouTube, it's doing okay. I thought it would probably be doing better, but I think that, we'll see. We still got some time, and we've got people who are starting to spin it. So hopefully that'll help too. And at least if it's getting heard around the country at different stations, we're getting spins in New York and Texas and Arizona. And there's about 10 to 15 stations that have picked it up for sure. And it's not picked up in the ad sort of way. It's more like specialty, but that's what you expect specialty shows to play it, and that's cool. Anything is a start to get it into people's heads, going, hey, I like that song. If we just get a few people going wanting to buy it and put it in their playlist or whatever, it's a start. Because you know how it is with a single. Once you play and it kind of fizzles, it fizzles. This will fizzle on the 25th, but next year we can promote it again.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. Absolutely. Well, do you have any kind of a website or anything that people can go check out, or any kind of a Facebook page or social media or anything like that?
The D.I.L.F USA band is probably, I think that's what it is with the band on there, because if you put D.I.L.F USA, you're going to find clothing and all this different stuff. So D.I.L.F USA band, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I think there's and definitely YouTube. YouTube's the big one. And then there's gonna be a website. I don't think the website's up yet. And then of course it's on all the streaming sites and even Bandcamp. So it's Bandcamp and everything you can think of. I mean, there's so many streaming and download sites now. It's ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, stuff like Geezer or Teaser or Squeezer or whatever it is. There's so many different things. I'm looking and going, what are all these things? I never heard of them.
Yeah. Well, Chris and I were actually talking about that earlier today, that with our show, we release both the audio podcast as well as this video component, and he's got to put that out on so many different outlets. I mean, it's just crazy.
It is. Yeah. It's nuts.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Cool. Robby, anything else you want to tell the fans before we cut you loose?
Check out, keep up with JackRussellsGreatWhite.com. And there's new merch up there. And of course, we've got Facebook. We've got all the usual stuff, Instagram, Twitter, and then D.I.L.F USA band everywhere, anywhere you can look for it. And hey, even my own stuff. I got my own solo stuff under RobbyLochner.com, Facebook, Instagram. I don't do Twitter. I don't do TikTok. I don't do any of that stuff. But you can find my singles on all the usual spots, like Amazon and iTunes and all that. So anywhere you can find the singles I'm putting out, because I'll be dropping singles come next year again, starting in January, videos and singles. And so anywhere, just go out and friend me or follow me on the my artist page, because I have an artist page. My friend page is already full. So anybody that's out there that wants to follow on the artist page, I certainly get back to anybody who emails me. I get back to everyone. So come and say hello.
That's dedication. All right, Robby. Well, again, we appreciate you taking the time. Go visit all those various websites. Go check out this new video from D.I.L.F with Countdown to Christmas. If you haven't seen it here on the show, or you haven't checked it out yourself, you'll get a good laugh out of it. Yeah. And I thought maybe since you brought this song up a little bit earlier, we'd close out the interview with from the He Saw It Coming release with the title track. How's that work for you?
Excellent. Love it.
All right, perfect. Well, say hey to Jack for Chris and I. Give him our best as always, and looking forward to seeing you get out on the road.
Cool. Well, thank you for having me. We'll see you guys on the road for sure.
Okay. Right. Well, here it is. It's Jack Russell's Great White with He Saw It Coming, exclusively here
on your Classic Metal Show. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Classic Metal Show. Get all of our episodes uncensored at www.theclassicmetalshow.com. Join us weekly from 9 p.m. till 3 a.m. Eastern at www.cmsradio.net. Participate in the live chat room at www.chatandkill.com. Once again, thank you for checking out The Classic Metal Show with Neeley and Chris. Hail and kill, fuck you, pal, and hand job!